My name is Wade Mathis, and I'll be presenting my business thesis on JCPenney from the beginning to the end and beyond, as we did in this year's semester. Starting off, I'll give you a little background of JCPenney and what I found in my studies and everything throughout the class. In 1902, JCPenney was founded by James Cash Penney, with a list of other investors and helpers on his side. It was established in Kemmerer, Wyoming, and originally was founded as a Golden Rule dry goods store. This is before James Cash took over and invented his own name and put his own spin on things. As the sales focus was on anything from furniture to apparel, jewelry, cosmetics, and cookware, which is, your modern day department store. Penney worked with the company as the CEO until 1942, which will take you into my next slide. As J.C. Penney developed their franchise and their business, they had success early on in their being. They as 1913. They had 34 stores already, so the growth of this department store was just taking off and taking shape. As soon to be, as all we all know, is one of the most successful department stores in America. By 1914, they had found so much success that they needed to take their headquarters to New York City in order to get their investors and their accounting firms and everything set up financially, just because New York City was kind of the central unit for all big business and everything that kind of goes through there saw success and had a greater chance of developing with all the resources that it provided. By 1929, this company increased its total stores to 1392. That growth is just incredible. I mean, they're more than tripling, quadrupling their numbers in the matter of 20 plus years. James Cash Penney himself laid outstanding groundwork for the future. I mean, their success was just exceeding all expectations, and as you saw, from my last point, the growth was just tremendous. So he really did lay the groundwork down for a successful future for the company. As stated, he did retire in 1946. He'd stay associated throughout that moment moving forward as an honorary chairman. And that gave him an opinion on things, kind of help guide this company to the right path. Operations overseas began in 1968 as their expansion continued. Struggle started to take place as original vision became foggy. Things started to get a little bit. Their vision changed on things. As an organizational change. In 2012, we shoot forward quite a ways here. J.C. Penney let go of the president, Michael Francis. In comes replacement CEO, Ron Johnson. Now, Ron Johnson had a lot of past success in companies, as we know, as Target and Apple, in their retail stores, giving them, promoting them, and giving a really, really solid foundation for them and driving their revenue sky high while decreasing all of their expenses. As you know, Apple and Target are very well-known brands, especially even on through today. So this is they gave them a smart pick and a very reliable source to take and spin forward, to think that they were going to be able to drive J.C. Penney's revenue in the same fashion with Ron Johnson. So Ron came in and attempted to reform J.C. Penney's brand. This was the birth of the fair and square business model. This gave consumers a fair and honest price on all of its products. None of the 99 cent, $20.50, all square numbers, $20, $30, $40, so on and so forth, which he thought would gain the trust of the consumer, seeing as they're not trying to up the price on you and make you think you're spending less when you're really spending the same amount of money, which is an understandable approach. I mean, it's a consumer market. They don't want to be lied to. I get that. But when people are shopping at a store like JCPenney after research is done, they're looking for the deal. They're looking to get the best bang for their buck. And as a business and market, whatever form you have to do to drive and bring your customers in, you need to do. And Ron Johnson did not see this success through his business model. Revenue dropped, profit, sales, everything went to the floor, which led to his relief in 2013, and he would no longer be the CEO of JCPenney. My idea and suggestion towards this approach Ron Johnson took, I don't even think Ron Johnson was the right candidate for the job. Was the idea right? Did they think that maybe this was a good plan to go outside and grab a very successful person in the past? Could have been. I believe that a hire from within the source, a reliable person who has vast experience with the company, knows where the vision is, knows the consumer base and the market position, this would give them a much better grasp on keeping their customer base intact. While driving revenues up and limiting expenses is definitely the key to any business model, that's how you survive and you become a profitable organization. It sometimes becomes foggy whenever trying to figure out who the right candidate is. And yeah, get the flashy big hire. You're looking for the new nice car on the block. This is a good idea, but sometimes you just need to go for the reliable source, especially when your company is starting to flounder and not looking good. You need something that's going to kind of hold firm rather than cause another big drop in sales. JCPenney's competition. I chose Macy's as a good comparison in the competition game for them. They're extremely close. Same thing. They offer the same products, all the the furniture, appliances, household goods, everything of that nature. But Macy's was close in the revenue. They're starting to lack in their sales as well. They're starting to fail as an organization a little bit, but they're still keeping that consumer base fairly high. And that's something that JCPenney has not been able to do. They've not been able to retain the loyalty of their customer base. And with Macy's, there were some differences that I think JCPenney could follow. After doing extensive research on some customer reviews and some inside sources, the cleanliness and organization of competing same general geographic area businesses, brick and mortar stores, they had a cleaner store than JCPenney, more organized, which meant they could find their product easier. A lot of times going into JCPenney's, these consumers felt kind of overwhelmed with this was over here, and your shoes were over with your shirts, your men's clothing was mixed in with all sorts of other things, jewelry and accessories. It just had a sense of disorganization, and as a consumer, you're not going to be able to follow that. It's not going to keep you there. You're going to want to take your business elsewhere where you find that, oh, I know what I'm looking for. I don't necessarily have to have somebody come find this for me, a sales associate or anything like that. And that falls into management. Management's key on that. And then I'm talking overhead management, from your higher ups, not necessarily in-store guys. They need to set the business plan, set the model, be able to, have a very organized customer base. And set up, or they will never ever be able to have, the success that Macy's did. The pricing is another thing that they were pretty consistent with Macy's. So I would say that they definitely had a similar price base, but back to cleanliness and organization. I mean, it may seem silly, but it speaks volumes to brick and mortar stores because you're physically there. Talking JCPenney 2014 and beyond, JCPenney has a long way to go. They really are in a deep hole. I don't know how much it's going to take for them to crawl out of that. Certain measures and changes must be made. Like I stated beforehand, the organization of the company seems to be all over the place, and this has put JCPenney in a sink or swim situation, and no company wants to be there. I know they've been around for 100 plus years, but it's just, you don't want to be there as a company. My opinion on JCPenney's future, unfortunately, I do see JCPenney going bankrupt here soon. If they haven't already, with coronavirus and everything, companies are having a hard time keeping people in stores. Their e-commerce, their online shopping would probably keep that business at least floating. But I just think the changes that need to be made by JCPenney in order to succeed are just far too drastic to get out of. And the competition is certainly running away at a fast pace. I mean, Target and these other large stores are just really doing well in this game, and JCPenney seems to be just caught in the old ways, and they're just kind of losing their grasp and footing here in the market. I hope you guys enjoyed my thesis presentation of JCPenney and the future. I've sure enjoyed this thesis and look forward to doing more extensive research on companies like this in the future.